Welcome, kayak anglers. You are tuning into the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, kayak fishing's best network of shows with great hosts covering all things kayak fishing, bringing you special guests covering topics such as shore fishing, river trips, gear reviews, angler profiles, tournament news, and more. Sit back, relax. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm John Rapp, host of the Rusty Hook Podcast. Let's kick this baby off.
Welcome to the Rusty Hook Podcast, presented by Feelfree Kayaks. Paddle, pedal, or power, there's something for everyone. DuBro Fishing, American-made marine applications and soft plastics. Ace Adventure Resort, West Virginia's go-to outdoor recreation destination. Big Lake Bait Company, Texas's #1 custom bait maker. Raw and unfiltered, streaming on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and X. Bringing you gear reviews and candid interviews from the industry's best. Angler profiles, tournament news, and legendary knowledge from kayak fishing's best. Grab that cold drink and get settled in. Now here's John Rapp, our host.
Alright guys, hey, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. I'm really happy to be back on the air. Almost didn't do a show today, but I reached out to a couple of my Feelfree Fishing teammates, and I've got a couple of topics that I've got lined up that I wanted to do. But last week I had my son over, and we troubleshooted my PC, got it back up and running. Had a bad driver for my AMD where the Windows Update had been pushing through the system. Had to turn Windows Update off and reinstall some software. Ended up buying a couple new monitors because my other two monitors were actually going bad. My son, being an IT guy, was able to diagnose those, and we got them sitting back on my couch here. Going to see if I can figure out what's wrong with them or trash them. But we also well, I lost my train of thought there, but I got two great guys that I brought on the show, and I'm going to throw up the banner here and let you see who we got on here. But we've got Timothy Campbell down in Florida, and we got Virg Shook from up in New York. And these guys have been on the Feelfree Fishing team for about the last 3 years each. They both have extensive knowledge of being out on the water. Timmy's a Florida angler, like I said, and he has a lot of experience smashing some big largemouth. And guys, I apologize if I feel like it sound like I'm a little loopy or mush mouthy or whatever. I just had my first installment of my new implant done yesterday. Face is a little swollen, but hopefully I'll have all my front teeth here by May. So, but anyway, let's get these fellas on and get them to introduce themselves and get this show started. So, we got Virg from New York. What do you say, Virg?
Hey, John, how you doing tonight?
Good, buddy. And we're gonna bring on Tim Campbell from down in beautiful Florida. So, you know, I gotta admit, we were giving Tim a hard time earlier because you know the topic that we're going to talk about today is a lot more about cold water and cold weather fishing. And Tim was talking about how he just went out fishing and finished quite well. He had a 3rd place finish here recently with the Kayak Bass Fishing League down in Florida.
Florida Kayak Bass Fishing Trail.
Is a
FKBT.
FKB, yeah. And but came in 3rd. What was there, like 53 people or something like that?
I think there was 39 people.
Was it? Okay.
So,
I'm
yeah.
thinking of a different event. But I mean, you're always sending me pictures holding checks, so it's hard for me to, both you guys, always got checks in your hands. But, yeah, man, 65-degree water, and me and Virg was giving him a hard time saying that's like 35-degree water up here. But, Yeah, man. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm gonna let you guys introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what you fish out of, what you target, and go ahead and take this time. Give some shout outs to the people that support you and your endeavors. So, Tim, go ahead and start it off, buddy.
Yeah, I fish out of Feelfree Dorado. I just picked up probably about a year ago now, almost on the date, and I fish. I mean, obviously with the Feelfree team, and my people who sponsor me and support me are FXR Racing or FXR Pro Fish on their Pro Fish side. Oracle Fishing, a buddy of mine just started up his company recently, and he's been helping me out. I've been using his stick baits and stuff he makes.
Sweet.
And I know I'm forgetting somebody else, but my buddy also supports me. Mellow Mangrove Charters. He does like charters in the Crystal River, Manatee tours and stuff.
Is he doing them in boats or in kayaks?
Boats. He does them in boats.
Sweet.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool because he got like wetsuit and stuff. He'll do oyster trips. He'll also do like you can swim with the manatees at Crystal River, stuff like that. But yeah,
That's pretty cool, man. So I know you got your right now you're in a Feelfree, but I think you got your start and how you were recruited and noticed was you were a sea stream angler, weren't you?
yep. I was in the Sea Stream 120 PDL.
I've had quite a few people reach out to me, and I was at a show recently, and they were talking about the old where that boat was sold at not Cabela's, was it? It was a Shadowcaster before, and they were talking about how they couldn't find them. I said, well, you just need to go look up Sea Stream because that's who used to make those. Feelfree made them. So, all right, appreciate you, Tim.
No problem.
Hey, Virg, talk to us, buddy. Give us
What's happening, John? Yeah,
Not much, man.
Virg Shook. I'm up here in the tundra in New York right now. Pretty envious of anybody that can actually get out on the water.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch some of these guys down south just still hammering the fish. I'm fortunate enough to have been on the Feelfree team. I think it's my third year now, and
I believe, yeah.
it's just an exciting time. I'm fishing out of a Feelfree Dorado V2. I started off with a Moken. I've had a lure, so I've gone through the gamut, but the Dorado's my flagship boat right now, and just a great platform. I've been on Mossy Oaks Pro Staff since 2008, so I'm an old G there. I've been fortunate enough to be on that part of that family for many years now. And just this year, I was actually invited out to help represent DuBro Fishing, and I can't wait to see what their products are doing for me on the mainstream. So, it's a fun year, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's a great company to be a part of. And what's cool about DuBro Fishing is, as everybody can see in your background, you're huge into the archery scene. And anybody that go check out Virg's page because he killed a huge black bear back in the fall, and Pine Ridge Archery is definitely going to be happy to have you part of that group too, because they make a lot of accessories that I'm sure you have looked at or have on your bow now.
Oh yeah. I've been using the glue for many years, and I'm adding a couple more things. That the new beak button, I'm looking forward to having that.
Yeah.
I actually teach archery through National Archery in the Schools program, and I'm gonna adjust my bows to add that to the regime. I think it's a excellent tool.
Amen,
looking
bro.
forward to it.
Yeah, cool. Well, so I know most of the folks out here are wanting to hear a little bit about what we would recommend for cold weather activities when we're getting out on the water. And I know Tim, like we were, teasing Tim that he doesn't really have a lot of cold water, but he does have salt, and he does have brackish and other types of water that that can be dangerous. So be interested in getting Tim's reports. And you were talking about a company that you work with that they provide some gear that you use, Tim. What was that company again?
Yeah, FXR. FXR. They make a full bib system. They make an insulated bib and a full bib set. So it's their Vapor Pro, I believe it's called, rain gear, and that one's actually one where if you fall in the water, you'll actually float with just the rain gear on itself. And I actually use since I'm here in Florida, I don't have the Vapor Pro yet, but I have it's actually a snowcross jacket that they use for snowmobiling, and it actually, what I like about it is it has reflective tags on it. So like if I'm out in the water early on, it you can actually see me reflect off of light. And then also it's water resistant, very water resistant, and it has an inner, I don't have the inner lining in it right now, but it has a lining you can put in it. So when it's cold out, you can put the inner lining in, and you can take that out, like I have it out right now because I use it also for riding my bike to work.
Heck
It's a
yeah,
great
man.
windbreaker.
What kind of bike you ride?
I have a 2023 Duke 390.
Duke 390.
Yep, KTM.
Sounds like it's one of them crotch rockets that goes about 190 mile an hour, huh?
I wish. I think the fastest I've got it so far is like 83.
Well, with all the traffic you got to deal with down there, I would say that's pretty fast.
Yeah, luckily where I go to work, I actually go across to St. John, so I don't go through a lot of city to go to work. That's why I picked it up, because I'm like, oh, I don't have to deal with all the crazy people.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'm going to start from the bottom. I didn't bring my NRS boots over with me, but I do have a pair of their socks. And they're actually not really a socks. They're more of a cover, and they're just a booty. They're like a neoprene. And what I wear their NRS boots as well. They're boundary boots. This year, Beth bought me some. We're up here in West Virginia, and we're involved in the whitewater industry. She bought me some of their smaller whitewater boots that the guides wear. They're not much bigger than those socks I just did, but I'm going to throw these on underneath them, which are sealskin socks. And I'm sure Virg is familiar with them. They're a waterproof sock that's got a membrane in to dry out your. Oh yeah, here. She heard me talking about them. There's my
Nice. Yep.
my new boundary boots. Or actually, these are Beth's, but these are boundary boots. I don't think I can get into those size 6s.
Yeah, they're great.
But the boundary boots are pretty awesome. They got a neoprene sleeve. They come up to the bottom of your leg, right below your knee. A lot of us out there probably are familiar with them. So that's one of the things that you want to look at from working from your feet up. Is start from there, because we all know, if we've served in the military, that you take care of your feet first. So, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. The neoprenes are good, but problem with my feet, they get really hot and I sweat. So
Yeah.
I found, I don't know if you're familiar with or have had tried the alpaca socks, the
Yes.
alpaca wool. They're amazing.
I have some wool socks. I don't have the alpaca, but
Yep.
that's something to definitely look at. I pulled up that page, Timmy. I don't know if you can see it on here. Which FRX?
I don't quite see it on there. I know if you look on FXR's page, which I believe is FXR Racing itself, which I can actually tell you the exact website just to double check, but I'm sure it's like fxrracing.com. Yeah, there you go. And you can go over to men's. It's going to drop down, so it's not like a click. So go down to men's Pro Fish. And then you can go over, and I believe, let's see, UPS, footwear.
Vapor Pro.
Yep, Vapor Pro
So
jackets and pants.
So let's learn a little bit more about these things here. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're like I said, I'm definitely getting some in the future. Like I might not get the insulated ones because insulated, I might not need to use all that much down here in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Here we go.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I want to say they were at the ICAST a couple years ago, and we did a interview with these guys.
So
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, yeah, they had it at ICAST. They actually had like a demonstration of it floating
they
in
had
the tank.
Yeah, they had a tank there where they could drop it, and we interviewed them. It's really cool.
Does it have an inflatable bladder, or is it just so well sealed that it creates an air pocket?
I believe it's the number two. Number two.
Yeah,
okay.
The way it's
sealed.
designed.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, that's pretty important for, especially with up this way. If you dump and you're in 45-degree water, and it takes you a little bit of time to get somewhere, you don't want to be going under, because the hypothermia is a real thing, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, saying on like how you guys say I don't deal with much cold. I think the coldest I've fished in is like actually Lake Murray last year.
Yeah.
For Bassmaster, and that was like 31 in the morning.
It was.
The closest I've fished.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of my practice mornings out there in Lake Murray were in the upper 30s.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you went down the following week when it was the KBF, didn't you? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like, dang, damn it.
Yeah, they were stingy. The fish
were
stingy.
the week Timmy and I were down there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think only like 20-something people actually caught a limit both days in the Bassmaster, and there was like 250 people.
Yeah. Well, I didn't catch fish during tournament. I caught my 2 fish during practice. I was like,
I think I caught 1 fish the first day and 2 the second day, and that still had me in like 113th or 114th or something like that.
yeah,
like
in the top 50. Yeah.
Top 50%. I was like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it was hard to get them on a pattern, at least for me. I mean, that was probably the longest trek and biggest water I had hit in my fishing kayak career, and it was. I quickly learned where they're not. So, and the bite, I think the cold weather there really messed them up.
Yeah.
I don't think they're typically used to that.
It did get cold down there, which was really strange for.
Right.
Well, let's talk about pants. We've talked about socks. Now, obviously, the FXR has a hell of a great suit, but for the guys out there that are just looking for something a little bit more standard, not a full body suit, I highly recommend you go look at, again, NRS. I have these, and they're just a half pair of pants, and they're really, really sweet. They've got the gasket down at the bottom that you can wrap around your shoes. So I wear these pretty much year round, from March through probably July. And of course, one of the reasons that I wear these instead of the full body suit is the fact that if I have to relieve myself, I have access to, because I do have the NRS full body blubber. It's like as Beth told me there, she's next door working, but she's what they call the Farmer John, and it's a bear. It don't have no exit holes. You have to reel her down and reel her up when you got to do
Plan
something.
accordingly.
Yes. But I do recommend these NRS pants. They're really sweet. They're a Gore-Tex. They're thin. So if, let's say, you get the size bigger than you normally have, I have a pair of these, and this goes back to what you were talking about, Virg, is a good fleece pair of pants.
Mm-hmm.
Is they got that waterproof lining on the outside, like a Gore-Tex, not a Gore-Tex, but just a water resistant, and then on the inside they're fleece.
Yep.
So
yeah, I got a pair of Nomads like that. They're wind and water resistant on the outside, and on the inside they do have that fleece layer, and they're quilted too, so that really helps.
Yeah, and it has a little band on the back for a little flexing.
Yep.
Especially, so it's pretty nice. But
So these are more like the Farmer John's, I think I heard you say, but
yeah,
same thing. These are mossy oak nomads, and they have reinforcements. And the nice thing I like about them is they have the zipper on the side, and you're able to get your NRS boot through them,
beautiful.
and you don't have to take them off. And the boots are great, but it's nice to have a little quick access, so it actually opens up, and it allows you to get them on and off with no problem. And they're stretched in the back too, and the elastic top, so like you can bundle and still keep it snug to you. They work good. They're really a nice setup for that.
Yeah, thank you, Ken, for jumping on. Make sure you guys go check out Ken's Jigs. He's part of the Paddle and Fin family. He helps sponsor
Right.
the Chasing the 20s podcast, and I have been purchasing Ned rigs from him for the past 2 years. He makes that offset hook, which I really like. I don't like so much the old circle hook. I like
Right.
that long gappy hook. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but
EWG.
sort of like that, yeah. And he makes me 50 of them. He'll paint them and color them, and I just get the mushroom heads on them. I really use them. It Virg for our type fishing. Timmy, you probably throw a big jig or something, football, but for those Ned rigs up here where you're pushing them down the river, but they're pretty nice. I use them. They hook up with those smallmouth a lot. For me, it seems a lot better. I can pin them a little better. So
I'm gonna definitely check them. I go through them a lot. I'm constantly in the rivers with them, and they just work. They work well.
yeah, I'll send
give
you a
him a
link.
shot.
You can take a look at his stuff.
sure.
I just did an invite for his page. I think he picked up about
Yep.
200 folks from
Yep,
our group. So,
that's great.
but yeah, no, and I have to admit, he popped that comment in there while we were talking about our pants, and yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah,
I knew where it was going.
yeah, it's hard for us old men. Tammy's still spring chicken down there, but
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take a quick break. Speaking of show supporters and stuff, let me go flash off here and thank the guys that help support us. As you'll see Virg and Tim and my show as well, and personally.
This is the Rusty Hook Podcast, supporting people and companies that support us. Feelfree Kayaks, paddle, pedal, or power, something for everyone. DuBro Fishing, manufacturer of fishing and marine products for freshwater and saltwater anglers. Big Lake Bait Company, Texas's #1 custom soft plastics bait maker. And Ace Adventure Resort, West Virginia's #1 go-to outdoor destination with whitewater, zip lining. You're tuned in to the Rusty Hook Podcast. More than a podcast, but a way of life. From the biggest lakes to the smallest creeks, we are all things kayak fishing. Refresh that drink, turn up the volume, and feel the excitement. It's time for the second half of the show. Live, raw, and unfiltered. Now, let's join the one and only Big Daddy.
All right, guys, welcome back to the second half of the show. I'd like to reintroduce the guys here on the screen. We got Virg on the main screen, a man up from New York, and then we got a Southern boy with Timmy Campbell right here, who's also made a presence here tonight. We're just talking all things clothing, particularly where it's still frigid up here in the Mid-Atlantic and northern states. Not like what Timmy's got down there in the heat wave of Florida, but
Yeah, right now.
yeah, man. So we've covered a little bit about some cold weather gear. I thought I would give a shout out to this organization. Feelfree Kayaks is going to sponsor these guys this year, and this tournament here is Kayak Angler Series, and you can see right here we're one of their official sponsors for this event. The tournament dates are May 2nd, May 3rd, and it's down in South Boston, Virginia, which is just above the North Carolina line. But you can see they've got several days and several ways to register. And I'd like to invite everybody out there that watches the show, either now live or down the road after it's been published, to come and hang out with us. There'll be a lot of Feelfree guys there, hopefully, that can make that trip, and we would love to see you. So, you can find it at the kayakadventureseries.com, and it's got the events tab there and all the events that they're doing this year. They got Ohio, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, or that's probably their Susquehanna event. Well, no, I think they canceled that one. And then, so yeah, look for that, guys. So, all right, jackets. What do you guys normally wear when you're not bibbed up? Do you have some type of special Gore-Tex that y'all like?
I personally have the AFCO rain gear that's insulated. It's a little heavier than just a thin jacket, and that tends to really block the wind and the rain, and really even down to like 45, 50 degrees, it's fine.
Yeah,
it does well.
I know Timmy started off the show with showing off a nice jacket from FXR.
Yeah.
So I have just a couple of the old traditional standards that I wear when I flip out. Both of them are mid-weight, and one Sims. Sims makes good quality clothing. And the other is from Field and Stream, when we had them here in West Virginia before they closed up shop and left our area. So those are the two that I primarily wear. So guys, make sure you go look up those two companies. I would have one of those jackets in here to show you, but they're all out in the garage locked up. So anyway, so let's talk about the rest of the year, guys. Tim, I mean, you've already started off the year pretty well with a third place victory last week. What else you got on store for your fishing season?
Oh, I've got a lot stored because I'm fishing both the Bass Nation and the FKBT trail. So I just finished Rodman last weekend. This weekend I actually have a break. Next weekend I'll be doing Santa Fe for the Northwest region for Bass Nation. Then next month I got I think I'm gonna have 3 because I'm doing. I got 2 in March because I'm gonna be doing or maybe 3. We'll see how it goes. But there's 2 in the Bass Nation that I wanna hit because the South region is going back to Istatopoga, and last 2 times I fished there I've won. So obviously I want to go back and at least hit that tournament if they have it, and then I'll be back. Not Rodman. I'll be back at Orange Lake for the Northeast.
Orange Lake, man. We say Dean. I tell you, I thought I was my personal best PB bass was coming out of Orange Lake when I was down there with Timmy. I caught a beautiful fish. I got it on video. I'm excited. I didn't even pull it out of the net. Left it in the net because I caught that Virg on a DuBro PB&J, and we were doing a DuBro content shoot. So I shoved that NK300 in the gear because where I was at, Timmy, we went into an area that was all grass, and you could not get out of the channel, which was probably about a 1-lane road channel that the big bass boats had cut through in and out to get out to them. But we couldn't get out of it because all of us was motorized. And, but everybody pulled their motors up. I'm fishing the edge of that, and I get smashed. And long story short, I'm rolling back up, and I'm lifting my net up, and Timmy's rolling over toward me, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I don't think that's a bass." And I'm like, "Huh?"
Oh, no.
I looked down in there, and it was a huge snake, or a huge bowfin, mudfish.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got great video. It's part of the videos that I've put out for DuBro that I've got up. But it was a hell of a fight, and but it was probably about 6 or 7 pound mudfish, probably about 24, 25 inches long. And I was all excited. And then I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't put my fingers down in its mouth to get the hook out. Cause
Yeah, those mudfish are always fun to fight. When you're not in a bass tournament, they put up a heck of a fight. Like even pre-fishing for the Bass Master Championship, or the Bass Nation Championship last year, I caught one pre-fishing on a wacky rig. And it was my first time using Mega Live, and I just saw the big blob come up, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be a big bass. It's coming after the wacky rig. And got it in the net, and it's sitting there doing its spins.
I've caught a couple of them down on Santee Cooper, and I actually I was bass boat fishing. I'm going down in 2 weeks to go down there and fish for a week, but standing back there, and I was dragging it through some junk that we were fishing, Tim, and saw that fish come up right behind it, following it. A lizard. I was dragging a lizard. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Got that lizard, jerked it out of there real quick. I was like, I don't want to catch that fish. Them teeth, man.
So what do they bite the same presentations that you're throwing at for bass?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And think of a snakehead, Virg. That's sort of what people get them confused with, but they're a native fish.
Okay.
But they're called bowfins or ladyfish, mudfish, depending on different locations. But yeah. So what else you got going on, Tim?
I know at the end of April I'll be going up to Tennessee to Dale's Hollow because I'm going to do the Bassmaster event up there.
Yeah.
And then I don't have much else planned. I mean, there's a few Bassmaster events I might want to hit, but I'm not sure yet. Like I might St. Lawrence. What is it? St. Lawrence River is one of them. Whichever one's up in New York, I'm thinking about it. But
Champlain.
Champlain, is it? Okay.
I think it's Champlain.
When is that, Virg? Do you know off the top of your head?
I think it's July. I think it's July. I have a calendar. Let me grab the calendar.
Yeah, I can look it up on Bassmaster's website as well. So kayak, but other than that, it's just mostly going to be doing because I mean our season they actually stop our season for bass and SKBT around May because nobody likes to fish over 90+ degrees temperatures anymore.
Yeah, your tournaments would have to be night tournaments down that way.
Oh yeah, it gets hot. Like even this week, it's in the 80s now as the high already.
Do you think you could push that up our way a little bit?
I can try.
I would take 30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been one of the coldest winters that we've had down this way in a long time, and the most snow that I can think of in the last at least 10, 12 years.
This is the best ice we've had in quite a few years. It's actually been good ice fishing in the last month or so, it's great if you like it, but you got live scope in the one hole and you got to drill like 14 holes to get back to the fish. So I'd rather have open water.
Yeah, definitely.
Lake Champlain, it's July 26th and 27th.
Yep, I got
July.
Yeah.
Timmy, you thinking about going up there?
Debating. We'll see.
Well, if you get this way, you got a place to stay if you need it.
Well, I was going to say, when is ICAST? That's right. ICAST is the 23rd or something like that.
Of July?
Yeah.
ICAST. It's 15th through 18th.
Beautiful. Okay. Huh. I may have to look at that one.
July 15th to the 18th.
Yeah. Thanks, Beth. So, if that's late July, you may have to give that some consideration. Come up that way.
Yeah, I've been trying to get more out-of-state tournaments ever since I did. Because, I mean, I did a Native No Limit last year at Gunnersville, and then I also did the Lake Murray event last year as well, which was, like I said, that's what got me. It's like, I need to go do some more of these out-of-state events and stuff, because they're a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, we've got a fishing team of, 45 guys all over the nation. I mean, it's best to, just get a couple guys, say, where are you going? Who's going, and get an Airbnb, cut costs, and have a good time,
Yeah. Or get lucky like I did the Kissimmee event this year. I only live 40 minutes away from the
That's
Kissimmee
nice too.
event, so I only had to drive 40 minutes both days.
That's great. That's a short trip for me anywhere around here for a tournament. I'm centrally located, but not for tournaments.
Yeah, most of my drive time around here, unless it was on even the New River, which I can drive in a half hour on a lot of areas of, but most of my tournament drives are at least an hour.
Yeah, yeah. That's I got the truck camper for that, so I can just make it a weekend. It's just easier.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to extend the tournament, so if anybody sees anything in March, I want to find some regular water to get the kayak in. So
I saw. Yeah, we've chatted on that. I've looked
yeah,
at
yeah,
making a trip down toward. I know North Carolina, Lake Norman is fun to fish for them big spotted bass in middle of March, toward the late March, because I fished that a couple times when Hobie would have their events down there, and so we ought to look at that.
yeah, definitely. We'll make some plans to get some guys together. There's enough of us.
Yeah, it's sneaking up on us already. Can't believe it's the 11th of February.
Yeah,
It's moving pretty quick.
Yeah. Years flying by already.
yeah.
So Virg, talk to it about Timmy's hit the tournament scene up a little bit. What are you planning for the year?
So obviously the local tournaments here. I joined Long Island KBF for my local club. I'm gonna do the Native No Limit tournament. I'm gonna try to get a couple of the Bassmasters in, and then I'm interested in that Team Kayak series that Gene started.
Yeah,
And I think we're gonna do the Susquehanna at least. And I've got a place that I can go to and stay at Kentucky Lake. So I think that's going to be one of my other go-to spots for the year.
if you go to Kentucky Lake, let me know. I'll
Yeah.
put you on fish.
Oh, well, let's talk. That's a great place.
I've won money there in two different national championships, and Beth won money with me in 2018. And
Fantastic.
we've got a couple little I don't want to call them honey holes, but I mean they're creeks. You know how the Cumberland River feeds.
Yep.
And long story short, I was fishing for a tournament back down there in 2016 on one of those wildlife refuge ponds back in there. A bunch of areas that were in 17 they made them off limits. 16 they weren't. So
Okay.
in 16 I was in there fishing, and I got a huge fish. And there was a dude beside me in a little john boat, and that fish came out of the water, and I'm fighting it. And you're only talking about 6-8 feet, and it dove down in the grass, and I had my pole down in there, and he's coming. He's like, "Buddy, you need any help?" I said, "I can always use some help." He's come over next to me, and I'm getting the fish out, and then snap.
Oh no.
And he's like, "Oh, that was painful." And I'm like, "You're not kidding." So he looks at me and says, "Well, you think this might help?" And he had a nice cold Miller Lite. I'm like, I believe it might help me a whole lot.
That's a win. That's a win.
So we're just sitting there for the next hour talking. He's like, "Buddy," I told him what I was down there for. He's like, "If you want, I got some pretty good spots down the road here. We'll take you to show you around a little bit." Oh wow, hell yeah! Local knowledge is always nice. So he told me I packed up my kayak and took it. We took my truck down to his house, parked it, and I jumped in with him. He took me to about 3 spots, and one of them that he took me to was underneath in one of those creeks. Which for West Virginia, the creek down there, those creeks down there are probably small rivers, you know. And so we hit it, and he took me up to a train trestle. He says, "You don't want to go. This is where you want to be right here. Fish this train trestle, and this little 100-yard stretch. Let it float down, go back up, and just keep working this." So okay, and then he took me up past it where because it was the water was down, so I guess winter fishing, the winter pool.
Yep.
He says because when the water's up, it goes into a big flat where they come in to spawn. And of course, we're there in March at that time, and so the water was warming up, and they were getting ready to raise it and all those fish would come and stack underneath that trestle and wait until they could get back in those. So each tournament year, the first year I won money, it was a 5 fish for 2 days.
Okay.
And I think it was first 3 fish on day 1, and then the best, or it could have been the best of 3 fish each day. I can't remember now. Anyway, I had a couple 19s and like an 18 the first 2 days, and a 20, an 18, and like a 16 on day 2. And finished, that was the year I finished like 19th out of 340 people.
Ooh.
And then in 18, I finished 23rd out of 500.
Dang.
So Beth went in there, and she caught fish, and it was 55th out of the. So we both came home with checks. That was pretty sweet.
That's
nice.
great, especially there. I mean, that place is it's massive to figure it out and get some inside. That's the way to do it.
Well, that inside knowledge, it was key, because I would have never even thought about going back in those locations.
Right.
Never, So. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's yeah. And, I always try to spend some time in the Adirondacks. There's some great fisheries up there, and they're untouched. It's incredible, and the smallmouth don't know they're big, and they just bite on anything you throw. Almost makes you feel like a good fisherman.
Oh yeah, that's like Lake Erie. Tim, if you ever want to make a trip north, you got to go to Lake Erie in May.
I've actually been to Lake Erie when I was younger with my uncle. He took me out there on his boat. We fished for walleye, caught tons of walleye.
Well, the spawn in May, when you're catching those smallmouth coming in, there's no way better. I did a live video up there this past year, and I actually, Virg, I got into a pocket of grass where the largemouth were, and they were chasing bait fish everywhere, and I was just on. Every time I'd see them pop out of the water, I'd do something. Man, I think I caught 6 fish in 30 minutes on live video.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty swept.
Is there are there gobies in there? Do they have gobies in that for the population of bait fish?
I'm sure.
They're pretty much everywhere up there, right?
Yeah, it's but it's definitely a lot of shad, a lot of those little bait fish that they throw up in there. Bluegill are pretty thick too. I mean, Lake Erie is just a great fishery. So, but I guess Tim, talk to us about that big largemouth you caught. Did you see that, Virg? Did you see that?
The one last year?
Which
Envious.
one? He's like, which one, John?
Which one?
Which one?
Which fish?
The one that won me the big bass last year?
Yeah, that was a beast.
24 3/4? Yeah, that's the one. Reason why I got a GoPro running it, just to get footage and stuff, because I didn't have one at that time, and I'm out there at Isopoga, and I'm throwing a flapping frog across, and I was kind of burning it around, and I happened to just look over, and I'm like, well, where do I want to cast next? One of those you're getting close in, and all of a sudden it sounded like someone just threw a boulder in the water. And I hooked into this thing, and I'm like, I hope this is a bass, because I had 30-pound braid on, and it was pulling drag, and I had my drag locked. And I'm like, okay, I got it in the net, and I got it in the net. I'm like, that's a bass. That is a bass. And this is like 17 minutes after line's in. And I got that thing in, and I measured it, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, maybe it's time for me also to buy a bigger board, because I got the 24-inch board, and
yeah, it was sticking off the edge.
or 26-inch board, and it's like almost at the end of the board, and I'm like, I've caught a 25 before just fishing for fun, and I'm like, maybe it's time I get a 26 just in case. But yeah,
that's funny. So your
fun
personal
tournament.
best is a 25-inch largie?
Yeah, it's a 25.5-inch. I caught at a local lake near me.
Wow.
And it weighed 8.5 pounds because it had just spawned out.
Oh,
So what do you think about a 12-pound fish with spawn? Or with eggs?
Probably. Yeah, definitely. Like the 24 3/4 wasn't even 8 pounds either, because it had just spawned out as well. So
Still,
like,
those are LA's fish, man. Man alive.
incredible.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Florida trophy catch is over 8 pounds, and I'm like, I've been wanting to get one over 8 to get at least a trophy catch, and I catch one big that would be 8 if she hadn't spawned. I was like, of course, she just spawned out, so she wasn't over 8, so it wasn't a trophy catch. But they still do. Florida still does. They got a big fish catch and they got a trophy catch, and the big fish is as long as it's over 24 inches.
Yeah, West Virginia for that it's a 21-inch largemouth and a 20-inch smallmouth.
Yeah. I think we're 20-inch for largemouth here. I think 20
19
for smallmouth.
I know
19 or 20.
Pennsylvania's 19.
I don't have it. I'm just gonna look. I have that paper.
Yeah, but that's the one that actually got me the first. Let me see, make sure I go to the right hand. The first place over here.
Yeah, look at that, you and your chicks.
Yeah, I was joking with my wife after I got that third place the other weekend. It's like, our camper up on our sides here, we're running out of room for me to put plaques. Where can I put them now? Because I've got three. I got three from Bass Nation in 2023 when I won the South Angler of the Year, and now I've got a few from FKBT because I was actually the first time I placed in FKBT last year was the one that I won. So I won and I got big bass, and the first one I had ever placed in the FKBT one because they're fairly new. I think that was their second year doing it, and now this year I've got a third place at Rodman Reservoir.
Man, I had to take trophies out to the garage. That's how many we got in here. I just wish they would have been mine.
That's me with actually at my parents' place where they live. They have all my dirt bike trophies, and they're like, we literally have a room full of just dirt bike trophies because that's what I did before I started fishing.
If you look there in my background in my little man cove, there's a replica that I had made. It was just pointed out to me that that's not my fish either.
Oh, that's a sting.
I'm telling you, I don't like it when she's down here in the man cave when I'm doing my show. I can't brag about her stuff.
Sheesh.
But, I have caught fish that big or bigger. I just didn't, I've been the one to go out and have somebody make a mount to do that for the person I loved.
Yeah,
Hint, hint.
fishing.
Thanks, Virg. Thanks for the support. She'll have to go back and watch the show to see what you said right there.
I'm about fishing.
Trying to help. Trying to help.
I have one that I wish I would have got a replica of. It was let me see, I got a picture of it here. It's when was this? It was a lot. 2009.
I love you too, baby.
Before I even got big into fishing, I was still fishing from a John boat or a kayak. I caught a 10-pound bass in my parents' lake, and I wish
Ooh.
I would have got it because I didn't send you the picture. I'll see if I can pull it up, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Jeez.
Gee,
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, the funniest part about it too is my dad's lived here in Florida for a long time, and his face of just looking at it like, holy crap,
Oh,
that's a big fish.
that's classic. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually had to call him over. I'm like, hey, I need a picture of this fish because I got it in the boat, and then when I was young, I was actually had my feet on a life vest trying to keep him in the John boat, and it was kicking my feet up. The bass was so strong. But
Jeez.
yeah, that's it. I started tournament fishing, and I haven't caught one over 8 yet. But then again,
think-
I chalk it up to it's when people are under 18, they always have that luck, that teenage kid luck.
Yeah. Yeah, my son caught a big one like that too when I was deployed overseas, and they put it in the paper, and then I got a copy of the paper.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty sweet. I know my personal best is it cost me about $1,600 2 years ago in June. So Virg is looking like, what the heck you mean, John?
Darn it, think.
Yeah, so I had a camera holder with my phone, and I recording it. It's one of my old iPhones, right? I got the video on here where you guys can watch it on my Facebook page. I caught my personal best. It was a 22.5-inch largemouth. So it'd be my personal best. I got it measured, but I can never show you a measuring picture because the last time you see my phone in my hand with the phone that's recording, because I had an old iPhone 10 that I did all my recordings on before I got my Insta360. And my iPhone 12 is in my hand, and I'm doing that old selfie, and I'm all happy, and it's raining, and I got one of those little plastic rain jackets on. The pockets are really shallow. I stick that phone in my pocket,
Oh no.
and I'm in the grass pads, so I grab my paddle, and I grab my paddle and I start reeling all that grass. Well, apparently I bumped the side of my pocket. Bloop. So when I get over, I get out of that grass pad and I'm going over looking. I'm looking. Well, where's my phone? And I watch back on the video, and I can see
It fell
what
out.
happened. And so I went over and I dug around the grass pads because it's only probably 4.5, 5 feet, but it was so thick I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
But luckily I got it all on video.
Is that a fish story?
That was not a fish story. That's the truth.
That's too bad. It never fails, right?
Yeah, but yeah, my biggest. I did have a great tournament that I won locally. I won about $2,000 from it because of the big fish pot and the tournament back in 2017 or 16. I caught 2 smallmouth the same day on a 2-day tournament. One was a 21.75 and one was a 19.5. So when I went into day one, from day 1 to day 2, I think I had like an 8-inch lead. I didn't have to have a really great day the second day, which I didn't. But I put enough fish on the board to win by like 2 inches. About you, Virg, what's your special fish up in your neck of the woods?
I did a lot of steelhead fishing early on. I mean, I caught a 6-pound, 4-ounce bass largemouth this year. So that's a good fish.
That's a good fish.
Yeah.
That's what, a 21 inch, 22, 21 and a half?
Yeah, 21. I think 21.25, 21.5. So it was a great fish. I caught him on a Ned rig, so that's the go-to. So.
And it sure is, man. I tell you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Another fish story. I always said the Ned rig. F it. I ain't done it. I was soft plastic with the Senkos, and then it flooded up here. And I'm watching somebody out in the middle off the dam where we were fishing off a controlled release area on the flood day, and it's water's just a pouring. I can't get my Senkos down. I watch her catch about 7 fish, and I'm like, so I finally put one on. I caught a couple fish, felt good about it. Went to a tournament like 2 weeks later, was fishing with them, and I've never stopped fishing with them since.
Right.
And then when Z-Man came out, it just made it even better. Put that Elastic stuff, where you can fish with that. So, I mean...
Yeah, they don't wear out. I mean, you buy a package, it'll last the season. Unless you're in the rocks and lose the whole rig. So.
Or you're floating the New River, or you're going up to Erie, and they're smashing them so hard. I had some of those DuBro rock crawlers up there, Virg, and they were smashing them. That one big fish that I caught up there last year, it was my only citation fish. She killed it. I saw her as I was floating over top of her, and I flipped back behind her and let that rock claw. It's basically a crawdad.
Yeah.
Drop down in there, and man, she smashed it. Because I didn't realize it was going to be that one fish, because there was a couple fish with her, but it just happened to be the big girl, and I got lucky with that one. Let's see what Ken said here. Ken's like, caught a 34-inch carp on Ned rig. Oh boy, I bet that was fun.
Yeah. That's like hauling in a log.
Yeah.
My favorite catch that I have is not a freshwater fish, and it was on a boat. It was it's a wahoo. I caught, actually, was this 2 years ago, 2023, on July 4th. Caught a wahoo kingfish, and it was 66 pounds.
Ooh.
Almost as big as me.
Jeez.
My goodness, that is a big fish.
It was enormous, and it was a weird day for us because it was a full moon that time, and we had actually went and we were slow trolling. So usually when you catch wahoo, you're trolling a little pretty fast because they're fast, so you weed out all the slower fish. But we were trolling for king, and we caught that. And then the next weird catch we had that day was we were bottom fishing in a deep spot, and I hooked into something. I didn't know what it was, and I'm sitting there reeling in. I'm like, hey, it's coming to the surface. Sailfish. Caught a sailfish on a knocker rig off the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a interesting day to say the least. But I've been trying to, because we go to the Keys every year. So last year I brought my kayak down, and I actually caught about I want to say 18-inch mangrove snapper. So I've been trying to catch some of the bigger fish there because I want to go on a little sleigh ride when I catch a saltwater fish. But
Amen. The Keys. How far is that for you? About 6-7 hour drive.
about 5-6 hour drive from Central Florida. So
That's not bad.
yeah, it's not terrible. And yeah, I caught
That's a
that.
day
And
trip
then
for me.
this year I know who was it? I think Clay was saying he wants me to get a video of it. I couldn't do it last year, but I do some spearfishing down there, and I'm gonna try to go out in the kayak and jump off the kayak and get back in because at Rodman actually on Sunday I went back out because one of the guys who was fishing the tournament he got waked out by a boat and got flipped and lost all of his rods
Oh, are
in
you
one of the
serious?
channels. So I went back out Sunday and brought some of our diving gear out, and I actually jumped off and I was trying to see if I could find it roughly in the area in the channel where he was. I had to be careful because of the boat channel. But unfortunately the current was moving, so I couldn't see it. But it's a lot easier than I thought it would be to get out of that kayak and get right back up in that kayak. I thought I'd lean a little bit more because obviously you're like full weights on the side, but no. And on top of that, I actually had my wife in the back of the Dorado with me while we were out there. So I had two people in the Dorado, and I was getting out and in.
That's awesome. Here's what I recommend, bro. Get that Insta 360 camera.
Insta
If you
Yeah.
don't have it,
Hey John,
You
how's
can
the
get-
battery life in that?
it's really good. Plus, I got a battery pack that I keep on that I can hook up into it, and it never turns off. And you can get extra batteries for it.
Does it have
But,
a threaded port on the bottom?
No,
it's- quarter- yeah,
it does.
Quarter 20 or whatever? Okay.
This is I hook it. If you go look at some of my pictures, you can see it hooked
Yeah.
up, and it's got the thing. The battery pack that I bought from Amazon has an extendable arm,
Okay.
so I can lift it up and get it above my head. So then when I do my editing, it's looking a little bit down at me. What I do is I'll keep it down, and as soon as I set the hook, I hit the button and turn it on and lift it up, and that way
Okay.
I can get the action of it. Of course, you missed maybe the first 5 seconds, but you get the rest of it. So.
Yeah, I
I've been
use
looking at them.
Go ahead.
No, I've been looking at them pretty hard because the GoPros are okay, but the mic connections aren't great for me,
Yeah.
and the battery life. If I'm not plugged into the my port on my Dorado battery pack, it's no good.
You get about an hour with the battery pack just itself, and I've got 2 of them. But then I saw that battery pack on Amazon, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm getting that because I had the extendable arm. And I'm like, well, it's got not only does an extendable arm, but it's a battery pack, so
Yep.
I'm gonna get that. And I think it was only like $50.
Yeah. I have a GoPro Hero 9, so I have the same way. I actually have the battery taken out of it since it gets so hot in Florida, so
too.
I actually have
Me
it
too.
plugged directly into my Dorado box, and that's what I have
Mhm.
now. Because I actually put
Same.
I put the fisheye lens on it, so you actually get a wider field of view.
Right.
So I've used that the same thing you. I was at Headwaters, actually the same day that I had the gator encounter at Headwaters that I got on video. I lost my net on the way back to the ramp, and I didn't know where I lost it. And I actually looked back on the video, and I lost it right as I got back in the channel coming back, and it fell out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting that one back because it was one of those fray bills that didn't float. Now I have a net that floats.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, I really I don't want to keep you much longer. We're hitting that hour mark, and I want to thank you for last minute jumping on and helping out a Feelfree Fishing teammate, and provide me with some great insight on clothing, and looking forward to seeing and working with you guys all year. Be blessed, and again, thank you for joining me here on the Rusty Hook tonight.
Thanks, John.
Hey,
Thank
any final thoughts or comments, or give some shout outs to your sponsors, man? Go for it.
Yeah, I got, like I said, FXR, Feelfree, my fellow Florida hooligans that were, we were on a team, and the team series went away, but we're still all together as a group, keeping ourselves friendly, and Mellow Mangrove Charters.
Amen. Virg?
Yeah, thanks again, John, for having me on Feel Free. I'm looking forward to the partnership with DuBro, and a shout out to my guys in the Core Rockland crew and keeping us sane through this winter time. So I appreciate it, and of course, Mossy Oak. Couldn't do it
Yeah.
without them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you do much with them,
Nah.
from that background,
Yeah, this is a small piece.
I can imagine, brother. God bless you guys. Thanks again.
Thanks, John. Have a great.
Have a great night.
All right, guys. Appreciate you all hanging out with me here tonight on the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. Stay tuned on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, as we have many shows that will be throwing up some bids here and there with all kinds of guests from all over the nation. Again, thanks for joining me here on the Rusty Hook. Be safe, and always, guys, don't forget, wear your PFD, and this time of year, make sure you're wearing that additional clothing, cold weather clothing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk of adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching The Noob Show with Matt Gibson, Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, The Rusty Hook with John Rapp, The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, May Contain Fishing with Daniel Woodcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery, Friday Night Bites with Brian Schiller. Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.